Hello.
Welcome back.
You're listening to the Synchronicity podcast. I am not going to do our basic introduction because this is part two of birth control.
Part two.
But
craziness continues.
yeah, so if you didn't listen to the first one, pretty much we gave you the history of the background of it. This one, we're going to drop through the biological consequences, and then there will be an additional one. But we really wanted to give people a true understanding of really what birth control is, and then give people the autonomy to continue to choose to do so or not. This is all based on facts. A lot of our research comes from medical journals. We get a lot of the information. We don't pull the medical stuff out of the air. So if there is something you want us to elaborate on, or if you have questions, you can always reach out to us at synchronicity_sisters. And we have plenty of information in regards to birth control and many other things. But I think that's it on that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and just like we talked a little bit about in the last episode, Nicole and I both were users of birth control, and we just believe in informed consent. And the thing is like they're not informing you of the ramifications of taking this, especially for long periods of time. It's over and over and over again. I mean, I have even a girlfriend that was on, we're not friends anymore, but when we were friends, she was 28 when she got breast cancer, and she had been on birth control for, I think it was over 10 years at the time. And she's struggled with it, actually coming back several times. She's still alive, thank God. And she'll actually be 40, I think this year, or was it last year? I don't know.
Not sure.
But anyway, this is a real thing. And I actually remember in high school, like my best friend whose uncle was a doctor said, like, don't get on birth control. It causes cancer. Like, so they've known these things. They've just hidden it from the masses because it's big pharma. That's what they do, right? It's all about marketing and like making something lifestyle and make your life easier not having a period and da-da-da-da-da. And let me just tell you something, ladies. Being and having a period allows us to give life. Mm-hmm. And that's a gift. And we have been brainwashed to think that periods are gross and that like to completely reject our bodies. And we need to really reframe that. It's, it's a time of slowing down, a time of going within. It's not something that should be hated or rejected or made to be non-existent. We go through menopause and we menstruate for really such a short amount of time in our lives. By 50, we're essentially no longer menstruating. And, it's one of those things, embrace it, because when you get into your 50s or something and you look back and you have health issues because you didn't want to bleed, because that's just the natural part of being a woman, they're just making us into men. They don't want us to slow down. They don't want us to like be bleeding because it's inconvenient for them. A man that thinks that that's inconvenient is also not a man. He has wuss syndrome. Like, go listen to another one of our episodes. Like, a true man, what was it the other day? A true man doesn't mind getting his sword bloody if he's a true knight.
Yeah, it was something about like...
It was like a knight doesn't...
A knight...
Oh, a knight is not a good knight unless he's gotten his sword bloody or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. And I was like...
So anyway, true men aren't afraid of a little bit of blood. To be completely honest, like if you're grossed out by blood, you've got bigger issues to deal with. But total sidetrack. None of that was like scientific, but
but it does kind of make you a bitch. Like you're a fucking wuss if you can't hang.
But also like you're a woman if you're traumatized and are like, I don't want to have a period. Well, like just like realize that that's part of life and slow down and be in your feminine. It's not about go, do. You shut your period off. You're literally removing the womb space from your body and consciousness.
Well, and I also think more and more, especially like our generation, millennials are really starting to like step in, and I've started seeing like more and more even influencers are talking about like, hey, like eating with your cycle, like working out with your cycle. Like people are really, like women are really starting to say like, oh, like when I have high testosterone levels during this part of my cycle, then I can lift weights. But when I'm in like high estrogen, I'm like relaxing and going for walks. Like they're actually starting to work with their cycle and incorporate their cycle into their lifestyle. And I'm here for that. I'm like, do it. Like,
well, we're not men.
Right. And so we're so
not men.
cyclical that it's now becoming something that's more and more recognized in the consciousness. And it is something you can work with. We have been fighting it for so many like generations, like fight it, that I think we're now seeing more than ever women stepping in and being like, no, I'm going to like work with this. And if you don't like it, then, you know,
get over it,
deal with it. And it's not just like, you know, I said this the other day. I was like, I would love to just like make it a universal like law that women didn't have to work for 3 days of their period, maybe 4 or 5, depending if you have like really heavy periods. But like you get paid period pay. Like I would love that because your energy's low, your body is like going through a severe, massive trauma. You have like no drive to do anything. You literally just like want a hot pad and a hot, warm like body pad and like a hot cup of tea. Who's going to produce anything in that time period? Not me.
Women on birth control because they don't actually even have periods.
Well, and also like I remember growing up, like
you're not having a period.
I would have friends that literally would be like, "Oh, I have to like plan my vacation so I can skip my period," and I'm like I used to remember because I always took progesterone, so I never could skip a period because I get severe migraines that are auric. Is what they call it. The doctors call it. So I could never take estrogen, which in hindsight, I mean, is bad, but so is progesterone. It's all bad for you. But anyways,
all of it's bad.
I just remember being like so jealous of my friends for skipping a period. But in hindsight now I'm like, oh my God, like I've never skipped a period in my life. Like since the time I started. But all of these women are just like, nope, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do this. Like I've heard women literally say, my birth control is cheaper than tampons.
But you're not having a real period anyway.
Yeah,
like,
it's whack.
It's actually hormone withdrawal of why you bleed. It's not a real period because you're not ovulating. Yeah. So it's not even a real period. When you're on birth control, your body's not having its regular cycle. And then you wonder why women go through menopause early because you're literally shutting down your entire... And again, what that does to the brain.
Yeah.
You're completely in your masculine. It actually makes women masculine.
Yeah. I mean, it literally makes them men.
And it's estrogen. You know, very convenient. Well, this backfired on these men because, you know, it's like, oh, it's convenient that, you know, women can't have birth or, you know, can't get pregnant and they never have periods and, you know, da-da-da-da. We can have sex with them whenever we want. But it backfired because now there's so much birth control in the drinking water and everything that it's physically making men feminine and dropping their T. So, you know, you know, you want to hear a fun fact? This is why testosterone levels plummeting because young women aren't ovulating. And when men aren't around ovulating women, their testosterone plummets.
Right.
You want to know how to never have any like T injections or anything? Be around young women that are ovulating. It keeps your testosterone high. So, you know, it's backfired. There are consequences to actions and to changing things. And yeah, sure. You know, Margaret Sanger didn't really care because she just wanted to kill everybody.
She was like a female version of Hitler,
pretty much. Well, she's definitely killed more people. I think that the national like Planned Parenthood has killed like 70 million babies or something.
Oh fuck!
At this point,
that's horrifying.
Isn't that crazy?
Ugh, that makes me sick to my stomach.
So she's killed way more people than Hitler did, even though it's not technically her.
Her karma is gnarly. I would not want to be the reincarnation of Sanger, but hey, you know, I'm here for it. Maybe she'll come back and do some good in the world. But
well, you know, you hope, but
well, so you know, and you're seeing so much estrogen, so much birth control. Actually, I saw the other day there's a study. Our drinking water. So originally, our drinking water was supposed to have like, I think it was like 2.7% fluoride added to it. In recent studies, dated 2025, like early January, there is over like 27% of our drinking water is hormonal based birth control.
Are you serious?
Yes.
My hair is doing crazy.
But we don't like but no one's talking about this. Like 27% of the water you drink is full of estrogen or some form of birth control.
That makes sense because I think I have more testosterone than like the majority of the male population in the United States.
Yeah. And so it is not only in our drinking water, but what's happening is that when women are taking birth control and men are drinking birth control, high T,
infertility.
we have high. So if a man has high testosterone, he's naturally attracted to high estrogen.
Right.
Man,
Testosterone and estrogen.
Testosterone, estrogen, woman. Now it's flipped. If she has low estrogen,
High progesterone.
high progesterone, he has low T because it's flipped biologically, right? Because you have to be attracted to it in one way or another.
Well,
So-
it's pheromones. It would come out in your pheromones.
Yeah. So that's why we're seeing more and more of the body. Like Meg and I talk about this, and I've talked about this with many people, is like, if you look at people from the 70s, like men from the 70s, masculine, very high muscle density, jaw structure, like
Broad shoulders.
big, broad shoulders,
small
and tall.
hips. Women had
Opposite.
little waists.
Little waist.
Big hips.
Yeah. So we're even seeing it in the breakdown of the structure of the body, the shifting of the body structure in general, like muscle mass. If, like a woman has high muscle mass, then she naturally has low estrogen, and vice versa. If she has low muscle mass, then she has high estrogen. So we're seeing this on a biological shift since even, we could probably look at body types from the 20s and 30s. Like women's bodies were very voluptuous and full, and now they've become more and more masculine, and men are becoming softer, like women. Like the man titties in the world right now are aggressive.
And it's all estrogen based.
It's all, yeah. And
Because
so,
estrogen is insulin reactive. So if you have high estrogen in your body, insulin turns on, which makes fat cells, the pancreas. If you want to know about
Right.
that, like we can talk about it. But just so you know, estrogen is insulin reactive.
yeah. And a lot of women that are on estrogen birth control talk about how they gain a ton of weight. It is
one of the side
because
effects.
it's insulin resistant. So it's literally causing the cells in the body to hold on to sugar and to create ideally fat storage. It's security, right? Like if the body goes into starvation mode, right? It burns it. That's how the cells work
Well,
in like a very quick biological breakdown, right?
so, estrogen just creates more fat cells because women need to get pregnant. So they have to have a certain fat content.
Yeah,
in
like you have to
order
have a fat storage in case something happens.
Well, and that's why women with estrogen, because they usually have higher like fat stores in their butt and hips, and there's a specific fat that like goes in there that creates like actually higher IQs in infants,
Right.
and that's why like men usually like big butts and small waists because
I
it's
like
a certain
big butts and cannot lie.
it's a certain like it's like has something to do with the fat cells and like how healthy the babies are. Estrogen body
But-
types create the healthiest babies in studies.
But that makes sense if she has high estrogen and she got a booty, he's probably got high T. Estrogen, testosterone, we were just talking about it. Healthy babies.
Healthy babies. Yeah, high T and high estrogen create the healthiest offspring in scientific studies.
But if you're taking estrogen based birth control and your ass is getting fat and you're like, what the fuck? It's because your body is becoming more insulin resistant. You may not be an estrogen body type, and it's actually doing damage to your body because it's causing you to hold on to fat where you wouldn't before, correct?
Well, no, like it just makes you gain weight because of estrogen. So it's not really, I wouldn't really say it's damaging to the body, but it's like we have estrogen spikes, right? And
Right.
a normal woman has estrogen spikes one time a month. So there's one time a month where you're like, oh, I might gain 2 pounds. And then as soon as you go into the next phase, it falls off. But when
Right.
you're on estrogen constantly, or your progesterone or whatever, the hormones aren't normal, your body weight, you can continuously just gain weight because your body thinks it's pregnant. And how much weight do women gain when they're pregnant? And you just continue to gain weight. And then, estrogen is stored in fat cells.
Yeah, so ideally it is detrimental if you're constantly on an estrogen body type. If you're an estrogen body type and you're on estrogen birth control and you're constantly gaining weight, that is a problem, is what I'm saying. Like, it can be very detrimental to the body because it's like, one, you don't want to be carrying that extra weight.
Well, I mean, yes to all the above, because it's actually detrimental to be on false hormones.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's everything. Like, what you're saying is, yes, true, but it's, don't look at the symptom, look at the cause. And the cause is, like, the fat is just a symptom. The actual cause is that you're fucking up your hormones.
Yeah.
So your metabolic rate and everything is affected by the hormones in your body, right? That's why, like, estrogen body types, like, they tend to not get as heavy as they age either, because just the way that their bodies function is actually healthier long term. So, you don't want to fuck up your hormones. That's also why we have an obesity rate like we do. It's all the estrogen in the food.
Well, I mean, we're the sickest culture we've been in a long time. But not just sick, biologically sick. The divorce rate is higher than ever. So relationships are breaking down. We're having severe, like, vitamin B deficiency. Everyone is on antidepressants. Megan just showed me this video, and I was right before we recorded this about, like, the next generation and how they, like, pop antidepressants and, like, drink wine like it's candy and, like, fun.
What you're not supposed to do.
But anyways, and it's like, so it's messing up the hormones. It's messing up the relationships. Culturally, we're just in a really sick situation from the birth control.
Yeah, so how it's affecting divorce and stuff is that if you meet your partner when you're on birth control, it alters your hormones, right? So they are finding that when women are on birth control, they're actually attracted to more effeminate men, or men that have low T. So, caretakers, things like that are more nurturing, because your progesterone rates are higher because you think you're pregnant. And progesterone often, like, not just energetically, but also physically, it's more like testosterone. And so you're not going to be attracted to a guy with high testosterone because you have low estrogen, because your body thinks it's pregnant. So you might be taking artificial estrogen, which is literally made, like, by pregnant horse urine, but we can get into that in another day. But these women are like, okay, like, I'm on birth control, I'm having sex, I don't want to get pregnant yet, so I marry this guy that I think that I'm in love with, and then they stop taking their birth control in order to get pregnant, and they're not attracted to their partner anymore, because all of a sudden their hormones will level out or become at least a little bit more stable, right? She'll go back to closer to her normal cycles.
Biological hormones.
And she wants a man with high testosterone. So she's not even physically turned on, right, by his pheromones anymore. And not only that, if she doesn't like the way he smells, then they're probably not a biological match. And then we're having miscarriages and things like that, because their genetics literally don't go together. Because you should love the way somebody smells. That is how, I love being around the man that I'm with, because I haven't been on birth control in years now, but I love the way that, my partner smells. It's like, oh my gosh, you smell so good. That's his pheromones or her pheromones. Your partner should smell like better than cookies to you.
Better than cookies?
You know what I mean? It
I
means
love that.
your immune systems are a match. Your genetics are a match. But I will say, like, even when I look back at, like, when I was, in the short amount of times I was on birth control, those people I wouldn't have dated. Like, when I look back, I can see that they had low testosterone levels versus the men I have dated when I wasn't on birth control. Just, like, physically, the men that I date when I'm not on birth control are extremely athletic and they obviously have higher testosterone rates. The men I dated when I was on birth control are naturally, they're even physically more effeminate. I can see that when I look at it now. So it's also the partners that you're choosing when you're on birth control could even cause you to get a divorce, miscarriage, like all of these things. And not only that, they're linking severe depression to birth control. And it
And
is.
then they give you an antidepressant, and then you're just really fucked up.
Well, and also it causes deficiencies in all B vitamins. They don't tell you that. Like B vitamins have your whole, energy levels,
Everything.
brain fog, all of that is B vitamins. So you're automatically deficient in B vitamins.
Go get some nutritional yeast.
Or stop taking birth control
That too.
and get some nutritional yeast.
Do both.
Because the thing about it is that it alters you forever for some of us. We don't know if we would be different if we were never on birth control. Odds are you would be, because you take that stuff, especially as like teenagers and stuff. Like, can you ever undo what it has done? Mm-hmm. You hope so, but we'll never know for sure.
Nope.
And that's the scary thing is that like we don't actually even know what it has done or what it continues to do. And I know, like Nicole and I don't have any known forever side effects, but there are women on YouTube, and I've watched the videos that have permanent issues. There are some women that have gone into early menopause and things like that because of birth control. So, it's just wild, breast cancer, blood clots, strokes, like cortisol that, a woman's body can't deal with cortisol in the same way that she does when she's not on birth control because you don't have the natural cycles. So literally women that get CAT scans, they see PTSD in the brain even if they have never had PTSD. So it's literally traumatizing the brain. You look like a war victim. You have a war victim's brain because your body can't process cortisol correctly when you're on birth control. So, there's just 20% of women that take birth control for over 2 years end up with breast cancer, blood clots, or a stroke, and cancer being in the highest range of that, especially in breast cancer. So, just if that isn't enough, then we're going to have a third birth control episode coming up next. And I hope that we at least get one person off birth control, because I'm telling you, it's life-changing to be a woman and feel good being a woman and embrace it, because we were trained to not embrace it. And it's actually really sad to me that I even...
Well, and I asked myself, like, you see these women talking about like PCOS and endometriosis and all these like air quote lady problems that they're calling it, right? And like how much we don't have the research linking, because I don't think they would ever study it, God forbid. But I don't think that they'll ever do the research to back the fact that I have a theory that the majority of those problems are caused from birth control.
Or sexual trauma, or like, you could go into German new medicine. But I have, before we started on this career path, I was a nutritionist, and I even helped women cure endometriosis without being on birth control or anything. You can do it all with diet.
Yep.
So,
it pushes like a lot of the endometriosis, the fibroids, the cysts, they push for hysterectomies pushed by Big Pharma. Yep. And so, it's a very violent, vicious cycle, and like it's Big Pharma all over again. But we will definitely, next episode, we'll be diving more into the emotional aspects that go into the side effects of being on birth control. If you're listening to us on, is that all? Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. If you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Please comment. We're still a little baby YouTube, so we're working on it. But the more that you guys hang out with us over there on that platform, the faster and better it gets. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple, please like us, share us. If you're listening to us, we love if you want to like screenshot it and share it to your story on Instagram. We will repost you. We love seeing our listeners engaging. If you have any recommendations for a show, that's why we're here right now. We're doing a 3-part on birth control due to a listener request. Thank you again, Charlotte. And I think I got everything. Yep. Okay. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can always reach us directly at Synchronicity_sisters on Instagram. Until next episode. Bye.